when the witness became the target, inside the cover-up. Before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Because what you're about to hear could happen to anyone who sees too much. Rain dripped from the cracked roof of a small suburban home in northern Illinois. The streets were silent, except for the faint hum of streetlights and the steady rhythm of the storm. Inside, Mara Ellis, 28, sat alone at her kitchen table, her eyes locked on a folder of police documents that weren't supposed to exist anymore. Her hands trembled as she read the final line, "Witness protection request denied." 2 weeks earlier, she had testified against Victor Dane, a well-connected local businessman accused of running a human trafficking ring disguised as a charity. Everyone told her she was brave, the only one with the courage to speak out. But now, every car parked outside her house felt like a threat. At 2:47 a.m., a soft knock echoed through the house. 3 taps. Slow. Measured. Mara froze. She lived alone. Her phone buzzed on the counter, a text from an unknown number. "We warned you not to talk." Her breath caught in her throat. She peered through the blinds. The street was empty, except for a dark van parked under a flickering light. She backed away slowly, heart pounding, then grabbed her phone to call Detective Reed Harper, the officer who handled her case. He didn't answer. Instead, her phone rang. Same unknown number. She hesitated, then answered, "Who is this?" A deep voice replied, low and distorted, "You think you did the right thing, Mara? But you don't understand who you just crossed." The line went dead. Moments later, the power cut off. Darkness swallowed the house. The refrigerator stopped humming, the heater clicked off, and the rain became the only sound. She fumbled for her flashlight, her fingers shaking. The beam flicked on, landing on something that made her stomach twist. Her front door was open. Mara ran to the door, slamming it shut, bolting the locks. But when she turned around, the folder of police documents was gone. The table was empty. She backed into the living room, her flashlight darting over the walls. That's when she noticed something on the mirror across the room, written in thick, wet red letters. "Your testimony was a mistake." Her heart pounded so hard she could barely breathe. She ran upstairs to her room, locked the door, and dialed 911. The dispatcher's voice crackled through the phone. 911, what's your emergency?" Mara tried to explain, but before she could, the dispatcher interrupted her. "Miss Ellis, we've already dispatched a unit to your home." Mara froze. "What? I didn't tell you my name." The line went silent. Then a click. Footsteps echoed downstairs. Slow. Confident. Someone was inside. Mara grabbed her old baseball bat from under the bed and crouched beside the door. She could hear a man's voice, calm, steady, talking to someone through a radio. Target located. Orders confirmed. No witnesses. The bedroom door handle started to turn. Mara swung it open and bolted down the hallway, her bare feet slapping against the cold wooden floor. She ran toward the stairs but slipped on the wet landing, crashing hard. Pain shot up her leg. Still, she crawled toward the back window, pulling herself up just as a gloved hand grabbed her ankle. She screamed and kicked free, diving through the open window and into the rain. She landed in the mud and sprinted toward the woods behind her house, her breath coming in sharp, desperate bursts. From behind her, a voice shouted, "Don't let her reach the road." Gunshots cracked through the rain. Mara didn't look back. She ran until her lungs burned, until the lights of her house vanished into the storm. When she finally stopped, she was trembling, soaked, and barefoot, hiding behind a tree on the edge of the forest. That's when she saw the second van, parked near the main road, its engine running. And inside was Detective Reed Harper. He looked straight at her, then lifted his phone to his ear. "She's out. Proceed." The rain hadn't stopped when dawn broke. A pale gray light crept through the clouds, washing over the forest where Mara hid. Her clothes were soaked, her skin scraped, and her mind raced. The detective she had trusted, Reed Harper, was working with them. The realization made her stomach twist. She needed proof, but first she needed to survive. Mara limped toward a dirt road, her bare feet stinging from the cold mud. Every sound, every snap of a twig, made her flinch. A few miles down the road, she spotted an old gas station. Its flickering sign read Wells County Fuel. She ducked inside, dripping rainwater across the floor. The attendant, an older man with kind eyes, looked startled. "You okay, miss?" he asked, setting down his newspaper. She hesitated. "Please? I need to use your phone. Mine's dead." He nodded, handing over a dusty landline. Mara dialed her friend Leah Brooks, the only person who knew a fraction of what was going on. Leah worked as a junior clerk in the county courthouse and had once helped Mara find court records for Victor Dane's case. When Leah answered, her voice trembled. Mara? I've been trying to reach you all night. They came to my house. Mara's heart sank. Who? I don't know. They said they were police, but they took my laptop. All the court files are gone from the database. Every one of your witness statements has been deleted. It's like your testimony never happened. Mara's grip on the phone tightened. Leah, listen to me. Reed Harper is part of it. He's working with them. Leah went silent. Then she whispered, Mara? Reed's dead. The words hit like ice water. What? They found his car burned on the outskirts of town early this morning. No body inside. Just his badge. Mara's mind spun. If Reed was dead, or if someone wanted them to think he was, then the situation was even worse. Someone higher up was cleaning house. Before she could reply, the lights in the gas station flickered. The attendant looked up nervously. Power's been weird all week, he muttered. Mara turned toward the glass door and froze. A black SUV had pulled into the parking lot. Two men in dark coats stepped out, scanning the station through the window. Their movements were too precise, too trained. She whispered into the phone, Leah, they found me. I have to go. Mara, wait. Don't go to the police. There's one person you can trust, Judge Kavanaugh. He was the one who approved your testimony in the first place. Find him. He's not part of this. The call cut off. Mara handed the phone back to the attendant, forcing a smile. Thanks, she said softly. Then she slipped out through the side door before the men entered. She ran behind the gas station, ducking between delivery crates, and found an old pickup truck idling by the dumpsters. The driver was a young woman scrolling through her phone, waiting for someone. Mara tapped on the window, her voice shaking. Please, I need a ride. Just 5 miles down the road. The woman hesitated, studying her muddy clothes. You in trouble? Yes. But I'm not the bad one. Something in Mara's eyes convinced her. Get in. They drove off just as the two men burst out of the gas station, shouting into radios. The woman, who introduced herself as Amber, didn't ask questions. She just drove. Mara explained only the basics. A corrupt case, a missing witness file, and a threat that had followed her into the night. Amber frowned. You said Judge Kavanaugh? I know that name. He's on the news all the time. He runs the county's Judicial Ethics Board. Mara nodded. If anyone can expose this, it's him. But when they reached the judge's estate, something was wrong. The front gate was open and police tape fluttered in the wind. 2 squad cars sat in the driveway, lights flashing weakly through the fog. Mara's chest tightened. She stepped out of the truck, ignoring Amber's warning. A uniformed officer approached, clipboard in hand. Ma'am, you can't be here. Mara's voice cracked. What happened to Judge Kavanaugh? The officer sighed. He was found dead an hour ago. Apparent suicide. Mara's knees went weak. She backed away, the world spinning. Another name erased. Another person gone. As she stumbled toward the car, she noticed something on the ground near the gate, half buried in mud. A shattered phone. She picked it up, wiping off the dirt. The cracked screen flickered once before dying. But for a split second, a message appeared. File transferred. Backup secured. Mara looked up at the mansion. The officer was watching her now, too closely. She turned to Amber. We have to leave. Right now. Because if that phone held what she thought it did, someone was still trying to make sure no one ever found it. The truck roared down the empty highway, its headlights slicing through the fog. Mara sat in the passenger seat, clutching the shattered phone from Judge Kavanaugh's gate. Her fingers were numb, her pulse still racing. The words burned in her mind, file transferred. Backup secured. Amber kept glancing at her. So what now? You think someone else has the backup? Mara nodded slowly. Yes, someone Kavanaugh trusted. He wouldn't keep evidence on his phone, he'd send it somewhere safe. Amber frowned. Where? Mara's eyes shifted to the screen's faint glow. Beneath the broken pixels, she noticed a contact name, WC Storage. Wells County Storage, she whispered. It's where they kept all the case evidence before the trial. Amber pressed harder on the gas. Then that's where we're going. Rain pelted the windshield as the truck sped through winding rural roads. The town lights faded behind them, replaced by long stretches of dark farmland. Mara's thoughts twisted with fear. Everyone connected to the case was gone. The cops, the judge, her friend Leah, they'd all been silenced. She was the last one who knew the truth. When they reached the storage lot, it was past midnight. The metal units stretched in long rows under the weak glow of a single security light. The air smelled of rust and rain. Amber parked near the entrance. "Are you sure about this?" Mara nodded. "If that file's here, it proves everything." They slipped through the gate, water splashing under their feet. Mara's flashlight beam cut across faded unit numbers, 36, 37, 38, until she found it, Unit 42. The padlock was broken, hanging loose. Someone had been here. She slowly pushed the door open. Inside, the air was damp and heavy. Boxes were stacked high, marked with evidence labels, State versus Dane. At the back, a single laptop sat on a crate, its screen glowing faintly in the dark. Mara's heart pounded. This is it. She stepped closer and tapped the spacebar. The laptop came to life, showing a folder titled, Witness_recordings. Inside were dozens of video files. One was labeled with her name, M. Alice, Statement 3.mp4. She clicked it. Her own voice filled the room. "Detective Reed Harper instructed me not to mention the second bank account. He said it could complicate the case against Victor Dane." Amber's jaw dropped. So Harper was covering for him all along. But before Mara could respond, headlights swept across the room. A vehicle had pulled into the lot. Doors slammed. Mara grabbed the laptop. "They found us." They ducked behind a stack of boxes as two men entered the unit, the same ones from the gas station. Their flashlights cut across the crates. "Search everything," one of them ordered. "She's not leaving here with that file." Amber whispered, "We can't stay here." Mara looked around frantically, then spotted a vent opening near the back wall, barely big enough to crawl through. She motioned to Amber. "Go." Amber hesitated but nodded, squeezing into the vent as quietly as she could. Mara followed, clutching the laptop against her chest. Behind them, one of the men kicked a box, shouting, "Find that computer." The vent was narrow and cold. Metal scraped her elbows as she crawled. She could hear their voices growing louder, closer. Suddenly, a hand grabbed her ankle from behind. She screamed, kicking wildly. The laptop slipped from her grasp, tumbling out the other end of the vent with a loud clang. Mara forced herself forward, dropping through the exit and landing hard on the gravel. She grabbed the laptop and ran toward the truck. Amber started the engine as bullets cracked through the night, shattering metal. They sped off, tires skidding on wet pavement. Mara opened the laptop again, desperate. The screen flickered, then displayed a final message. Auto-upload complete. Server, County Records Cloud. Her eyes widened. It's uploaded. They can't erase it anymore. Amber grinned through the fear. So it's over? Mara shook her head. Not yet. Because just then her phone buzzed, an unknown number again. She hesitated, then answered. A familiar voice spoke, calm and steady. You did well, Mara. But this doesn't end with Victor Dane. You've just exposed the first layer. The line went dead. Amber glanced at her. Who was that? Mara stared out the window as the rain fell harder, washing over the empty road. Someone who knows the truth, she whispered. And someone who's still watching. In the distance, sirens began to wail, growing louder, echoing through the night. The backup was safe. The evidence was out. But for Mara Ellis, safety no longer existed. Because the cover-up wasn't over. It was only beginning.